Alright, since that head work is done, I decided to jump on to other things, and that other things is going to be to start cleaning up the sheet metal and getting it ready to go back together. So I picked out the pieces that needed cleaning up and I hit them with the sandblaster. So a bunch down there and a bunch up here. And they're just getting ready to get a high-end paint job of 2X. I'm with the best. I actually like the way that stuff works. So, and climate control, the AC's on, so it's humid outside, but I'm making it the right conditions. So I'm gonna get onto rattling that thing up and turning the fan on and making them turn to another color. Alright. The stuff look pretty. So they all have been hit twice with black. It's just about the right finish for it compared to the original. So that cleans them up. Makes it look pretty anyway. The intake's done. That's just done within like a minute ago, so I'm gonna let that set up. I'm gonna hit it one more time. And that color is satin granite. 2X paint and primer in one. And then just the heater boxes. No holes in them, so that's a good thing. Just that one's got some beat up dents on the back side of it, probably from sliding it around out of the car, but don't hurt nothing. That'll be good to go. So I'm going to let all this stuff kind of cure up overnight, and then pick it up probably from there. So you guys, it'll only be a second, but for me it'll be the next day. So I will catch you the next time around. Alright, so it's the next day and I relented. Valve cracks. There's valve head crack, whatever you want to call it. So that one right there, it's not a problem. I've been working on these since 1978. They did it back then. It was never a problem, never had one come back. The one that's a problem is the one that goes from the seat to the plug hole. And it depends on how far down they go, whether an issue or not, and then that is due to overheating that causes that problem. So anyway, I do have another cylinder head and another motor that was in the back, so I decided to pop the cylinder head off of that one, and I haven't cleaned it yet, but I don't see anything obvious popping out yet. The only difference between this one is it is a Mexican, this is German. This one has, you guys can see the lip right there, it's got spacers on it, and this one does not. But the gap from here to here and the gap from here to here is the same, so I'm probably going to leave them in there. It'll probably leave the compression compression ratio will probably end up being the same, so I can't take those out. These may have been fly cut at one point and then they put those back in there to take up the distance to make it the same. So that's what I'm gonna go with, but right now I'm gonna go and stick it in the sandblaster and get them to be more presentable, and then we'll see what we got going on inside there. Yeah, so I got that sucker all kind of cleaned out of there, and everything looks good. I don't see any issues with anything. Everything looks nice and tight. The guides on this one are even tighter too, which is when you drop the valve in, how much play they got from side to side. These almost have nothing. The other ones have a little bit to them. So what I am thinking to try to maybe keep everything matched together is I might as well pull the other head off the other one. And that raise, I thought that was a separate ring that's in there. That's not. It's just part of the head itself. It's just the way it's made. So I don't know if they're different compression ratios or whatnot, but I want to match it from side to side, so I figure I might as well pull the other one, and that's what we will have. So I'm going to lap these valves in. The seats look good. There's a little bit of pitting I see on one of them. I'm just going to come in or not. You can see just a little. Yeah, we lost you now. All right. So anyway, that's the idea. I'm not going to bore you with doing everything that I did with the other heads all over again on these, but you know the routine by now, so that's what's going to happen to these. And after that point, I think I'm going to start getting the motor just kind of cleaned up. And once that's cleaned up, then I can put the jugs on it and start reassembling that. Hindsight is I should have just taken the motor out of the back, which I knew was a good motor, and hung everything on it, but you don't know that sometimes until you get into it. So now I tore two of them apart, and now they're just parts motors, and you have to reassemble what you need. But sometimes it just works out that way, you know? You don't know until you get into it. Alright, I'm going for breakfast, and then we'll get on that. Hey, one thing I forgot to do on the other head, I got to do on this one, is the keepers. It's the two keepers on the valve. I'm pushing real hard on them, but you can see how the keeper has play on it. So over time, that has a tendency to beat itself to death too. So what you got to do is take the keeper and you rub it on a piece of sandpaper, and it takes off a little bit on each side of it, and it allows the keeper to close all the way around the valve. So while I'm doing this one, I shall take care of that also and get that problem out of the way. I took some time. I took the oil cooler off the block, the generator stand off, and cleaned underneath them. I took a little wire wheel and cleaned up all the bores, and now I'm just running the studs that came out. I put them on the vise, took the nuts off of them, and cleaned the threads up on the wire wheel. So now I'm just kind of running them back in, and they should have a pretty good amount of drag to them going in. I'm sure you're looking at the same one that I'm looking at. How's that? Close enough. We'll do a little of that. So I'm just going to double nut them and run them in. Oh yeah, the pistons are off too. And I used about a full can of brake cleaner. I just kind of rinsed it through the block, let it all piss out the oil drain screen. So, it may not be the prettiest thing, but it is clean. So I'm just getting ready to just basically start reassembling the block. And the first part of that is getting these guys so that that's that one. I also took a tap and some oil, a dye rather, and some oil, and ran over all the other ones. So the threads are clean, because the torque on these is pretty important. And if your threads are caca, then you're not going to be able to get a nice even torque. And the nuts were actually seized on this anyway, so at some point, if this motor, when it got hot, if they came in and retorqued the heads, it probably would have been okay. But it had that mouse nest in there anyway, so. And the top ones you can't really get to without pulling the tins off of. You can only take the valve covers off and you can get to the bottom four. One more. The other side's already done. They have something called case savers. To help. I seem to remember a repair kit too when these guys ripped out. I used to be able to do it right on the car. If one of the studs pulled out. It was a tool setup that had like a reamer, then you helicoiled it and you did this and you did that. Now, all the other ones went in pretty tight, except for this one. I think I'm going to pull that one back out and probably do some Loctite on it. You guys get the idea. So, I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to start putting the jugs on it. And I'll turn you back on when I start hanging a couple of those. Okay, well the back two are on now. I'm going to go do the front two. Now they got a rhythm down. As you see, I got 4 pieces of hose kind of protecting the piston, the rings from getting beat up during install. And you can see on the piston there's an arrow. That always points to the front of the motor or the flywheel. And right now what I have it set up, I have the wrist pin just a little, right about there, so I can kind of feel where the con rod is. And it's already got that clip in it, so that you have to worry about trying to access it later. And we're going to shoot a little bit of oil on the rod. Yeah, let's see how good you do with somebody watching you. And yeah, there she goes. I almost push them in by hand, but I want to seat it against the other side a little bit, so that's home. And I think that's like a 16 millimeter. I think it's a 16 that clears it. I'm going to snap that ring in there. That guy, and I just have one more to do, and then we'll start see if we start getting the sleeves on there. Alright, so I got 2 down and 2 to go, and this is my system. That's my ring compressor. It's got a pair of pliers that grabs it and squeezes it, and then it's got a ratchet cam on it to kind of lock it in place. So we'll get that sucker on there. Do it ahead of time. I kind of like to take one ring and another and face them 180 out from each other. The one's going that way, one's going that way. And take the oil ring, point it straight up, the break in it I'm talking about. They move around when it's running anyway, but it gives you a stagger, so it doesn't give it a place to leak through all one spot, you know. I got a bunch of oil dripped on that too. No oil's the jug's been cleaned. It's got oil in it. I don't know if you can see it, and it's running a gasket on the bottom of it. So. Okay, I'm past the rings right now. I'm gonna go just a hair more. Let's see if I can get my spin compressor out. That's the hardest part. So you gotta kind of walk it around, and you kind of sneak it out. There you go. Now we just got to run it home. in. And do one more of those, then wipe it all down and start getting into the cylinder heads. Alright, so I got the other side done. I'm going to go assemble this one. It's upside down right now because you got to put the push rod tubes on, so you got to try to align them, and they're underneath, and well, for obvious reasons now you know why it's upside down. There's a deflector that goes on too. Again, this is the bottom of the motor. Air flows from here, and it kind of wants to make a circular pattern all the way around the jugs to cool them off. You kind of need these suckers in there to be aware of. Alright. So everything looks good to go on this one. I swapped the heads from side to side. One side of the motor runs hotter than the other, so I just kind of switched them up so that the longevity will probably be even out over time. These guys have little gummy seals that you put on them. I was thinking about painting them, then I said, screw it, I'll just get oil on them. That should hold them. By the time they rust out again, I'll be gone. Let the next guy worry about it, right? There you go. So now it's kind of started. Hi-ya. Now I just got to get all the hardware on it and suck them down. When I was taking the other motor apart in the trailer, in the back of the car rather, taking the nuts off, and the motor's kind of cocked up on an angle, slight angle. And the nut pops, the nut falls out of the socket and goes right down the push rod tube, right into the motor. So that motor out back has one of these sitting in it. So note to self, I think it'll just come right out of the drain plug hole. But I'm going to take all the parts that I took off of this, the heads and everything. And I'll do myself a favor and I'll take a note and put it in there saying, you screwed up last time. So if you're using this bottom end, don't forget. So what I'm just doing now, I'm going to put these on and I'm just going to run the head down so that it compresses the I don't like that one. I think it might have a little bit of something on the threads. There you go. What are we talking about? You just got to crush those accordions on the other side, which are the push rod tubes, and they allow the oil to return back to the center of the block. You guys noticed when I was working on the heads, I didn't bother with valve stem seals. They make them, but for the most part, they have the VW motors really don't burn oil. You would never see a VW smoking going down the road too bad. Sometimes just on startup, whatever seeps past it. But by the nature of the design, because the valve is sitting sideways, it doesn't have a very good, very bad problem with oil trying to get around the guide. So you're generally just pretty much overheating. Go bye bye. I know the camera said it had 20 minutes left, and that was about 18 minutes ago, so you guys are probably getting fairly low. Does it tell me? Tells me that you weren't looking at crap, were you? Oh well, I tried. Anyway, So I am going to wrap it up at this point and torque the heads. I'm waiting on the sheet metal that covers the top of the jugs going this way, and then the blower goes on top. They were supposed to come today, and I want to repaint them also because I'm not going to trust the crappy paint they come from China or wherever. So I wanted to reshoot those, and I don't have them yet. So after retorquing the heads on this, I could probably put the rockers on, adjust the valves, that kind of thing. But that's about as far as I'm going to be able to go until I get those. So without further ado, I will catch you when I pick back up on this, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye. Alright, I lied. There was 8 minutes left on the camera. So I'm going to, the other side's already torqued down. My ratchet is set at 23. And we're clean the center out. If you have a torque wrench that starts a little lighter, I think this one actually starts at like 20. So if you had a lower scale, you could probably run them up to like 10 or 15 pound and then run up to 23. So what I'll do is that one last. I'll hit them all. I'm going to go back and hit them all one last time. Because the first one you torque down, by rights, should actually take more. Make me a liar. Boom, boom. Point in the middle, done. Furthest one away will be that one. Maybe that one. And that would be it. We're going to leave it just like that.